Welcome to the intro Hofer Outing Club boating safety and rules video. Let's get started by talking to Tim out here on the Triangle Dock. Hey Tim, what's you doing there?
Hey Ryan, getting ready to go paddling out on Lake Mendota.
Would you care to tell us what the purpose is of the Hofer Outing Club safety rules?
Sure. It's really to keep everybody safe while they're out on the water, all the Hoofers members, as well as to protect our diverse collection of boats and equipment. You know, I got to get out on the water, but I'm sure there's somebody that can give more details on the Hoofers program.
Let's head over into the boathouse and we'll go check out the details. We're going to do a tour of the boathouse and show you where everything is. So, we'll start over here. We'll just go right here. This is not our stuff. Do not touch it. These are our paddles. If you're coming out of Lake Mendota and you're a member of the Hofer Outing Club and you have the appropriate rating, you can use these paddles. We have our mountain bikes over here. We have more bikes. These paddle boards are not ours. Do not touch them. Hence I just touched it. Do not touch those. These life jackets are not ours. Do not touch them. These whitewater boats are all belong to the Hofer Outing Club. Feel free to use them if you have the appropriate rating. Remember, if you are using a boat, remember to check it out. And if there's something broken, make sure to follow the directions and label it for what's wrong. These are our wonderful fleet of sea kayaks. These canoes are not ours. Don't touch them. These kayaks are not ours. Don't touch them. They all belong to Outdoor UW. These canoes belong to the Hofer Outing Club. If you have the appropriate rating, you can use these. If you need a spray skirt and you can't get access to the cage, you can use spray skirts that are located in this bucket. If you need a paddle, here are canoe paddles if you want to use a canoe paddle. These life jackets are ours, so you can use these ones. Behind the Sasquatch, we have more Hofer Outing Club canoes. Do not touch the Sasquatch. It belongs to Outdoor UW. Here's some more spray skirts too. So this is our boating cage. This is where we keep all of our really nice equipment. The cage is locked because it's all very nice equipment. To get access to the cage, you need to be either a trip leader or an instructor within the Hofer Outing Club. You can get a whisk card, and your whisk card will open the door, and I can get in. If you don't have key access, or you're not an instructor, or you're not a trip leader in the Hofer Outing Club, you can ask a Hofer Outing Club trip leader to let you in sometime. Let's go inside. So here's where we keep a lot of our equipment. During your kayak lesson or your canoe lake lesson, the instructors will be going through a lot of this information. But I highly stress, make sure to take care of all this equipment because we've amassed all of this really nice high quality equipment over a long period of time. That is the tour of the Hofer Boathouse. Thanks for joining.
Wow, that's a lot of useful information. How do we get those specific boat user ratings?
To collect information about the Hofer Outing Club paddling ratings, go to the Hofer Outing Club website. I can click under Getting Started. Let's click Leading Trips. It's loading, and I scroll down and I click on Paddler Ratings. And this nifty flowchart comes up, and I can click on it and explains what needs to be done to earn certain ratings. May that be sea kayaking, whitewater kayaking, open solo canoe, open tandem canoe, and deck canoe. Now you're probably wondering, what can I do with my boating ratings? If you go to the back of the boathouse at the boating cage, there is a sheet of paper that describes what can be done with each specific rating.
Wow, that's a lot of useful information. How do I check out boats? How do I check out a boat?
Well, you can start grabbing that boat that you want right there.
This one?
Yeah.
Now what?
Then you go fill out the sheet of paper and you can write down your name in the first column, where you're going, so you're just going out on the lake, and then the date, and then the name of the boat. The Green Easy Wave Runner. You're all set to go on Lake Mendota.
Great.
Another thing to keep in mind before you check out boats to be used on Lake Mendota is that official Hofer Outing Club trips get first pick and precedence over general club use. Therefore, before you go out on Lake Mendota or before you check out your boat, you should go on the Hofer Outing Club events website, go to the calendar, and see if there's any paddling events going on. For example, yesterday morning, there was a beginner sea kayaking trip at 9 a.m. So anyone, general club members who wanted to go paddling during this time, they get second pick. So official Hofer Outing Club trips get first pick on boats. Next, we're going to go over the specific rules for Lake Mendota. If you're curious about the exact rules for Lake Mendota, you can go to the Hofer website and go under Leading Trips. And if you scroll down, you click on HOC Water Safety Code, and it will download the water safety code for you. This includes all the information about water safety, pretty much. So we are at page 31 of the Water Safety Code under Appendix B, looking at regulations and policies regarding Lake Mendota paddling. Hofer Outing Club Lake Rules. General rules for paddling activities are not part of an official Hofer Outing Club trip. Obey the boathouse lights and flags. Determination of conditions as indicated by flags and lights is ultimately set up by UW Life Saving Station, which is operated by the state of Wisconsin. The flagpole is located in front of the boathouse. Lights are located at the top of the Lake Safety Tower, which is on the northeast corner of Helen C. White College Library. Call this number for Lake Mendota weather conditions, including the current flag and light in effect, or check the online Hofer Sailing Club webcam, blah, blah, blah. The UW Life Saving Station may sound the steam whistle located on the top of the Lake Safety Tower upon closing the lake due to a storm and 1 hour before sunset. In the event of a storm, red lights shall flash from the end of Picnic Point, the Tenney Park locks, the safety tower, and the UW Life Saving Station. The mechanical warning device are subject to failure, so the flags take precedence if in conflict with the light signal. Flags may change in the middle of the day. Hofer boaters are required to obey the following flag colors which tell current weather conditions: green, yellow, blue, red, and blue, and then red. Red means no boating. If you are on the lake, go to the nearest shore. On page 34 of the Hofer Outing Club Water Safety Code is the chart that describes what you can do with what paddling rating in conjunction with the flag color. Previously described are different flag colors, and over here, where the cursor is, are different levels are paddling ratings. And it describes what you can or cannot do. May that be paddling only in the pier area, paddling only within the yellow line, or on the entire lake. Comparing this to the map and abstractly describing what everything is, to make this larger, the pier area is this right here. It extends from the triangle dock all the way over to the first dock where there is usually lifeguards on duty. The three lights that will show up red if bad weather is coming in and when the steam whistle goes off at the Helen C. White College Library, at UW Life Saving over here, and at Picnic Point. On this bigger map right here, the main boundary for paddling is in the pier area, the yellow dotted line, which goes from, right now it's an orange dotted line, goes from Picnic Point to Tenney Locks. And in some occasions, depending on the flag color and what rating you have, you may paddle anywhere on Lake Mendota. Make sure to follow these rules right here. Notice that this is for water temperature greater than 60 degrees. when it's colder and water is less than 60 degrees, it should say 60 degrees. These are the different rules. Here's a visual description of important places on Lake Mendota. First, right here, this is the steam whistle tower. Next, over here, we have Picnic Point. Then, over here, let's see if I can find it. There's the Oscar Mayer Smokestack. There it is, the Oscar Mayer Smokestack. Then the next marker is UW Life Saving, which is behind the Edgewater, behind those green trees. Next, here's the pier area that extends from one pier to the other end of the pier. And this is the Triangle Dock. So, there are a lot of docks on Lake Mendota. Of all of them, the Triangle Dock belongs to the Hofer Outing Club. This is our space. This dock does not belong to us. It belongs to Outdoor UW, and the next dock over there belongs to Hofer Sailing. So use this dock for all Hofer Outing Club related activities. If you go to the back of the boathouse at the boating cage, there is a sheet of paper that describes what can be done with each specific rating. State law requires that each boat carry one life jacket per person. Hofer Outing Club members requires all members to wear PFDs at all times on any kind of kayak or canoe while on Lake Mendota, and anybody of water. There are no exceptions to this requirement. State law requires all boats be lighted after dark. A flashlight will suffice. It should be flashed in the direction of approaching boats to warn them of your presence. Boating after dark is allowed only during authorized Hofer Outing Club moonlight canoeing trips. Do not leave a boat at the mooring buoys, but you may beach your boat on the shore temporarily. Stay with your boat if it turns over. It will float even though full of water. Wave your paddle in the air to get attention and wait for the University Rescue Services to pick you up. If unable to return to your boat, call the boathouse at this number. You are responsible for returning all Hofer Outing Club equipment to its proper place. All boating must be done on Lake Mendota unless you will be going on an authorized Hofer Outing Club trip. Boats must be signed out. For Hofer Outing Club trip rules, see the Hofer Outing Club Water Safety Code. Failure to comply with the Hofer Outing Club Lake Rules will result in the securement of the violator's membership for up to 2 weeks. The Hofer Outing Club Water Safety Chairperson may increase this penalty if he or she deems it appropriate. If a person feels he or she has been penalized unjustly, he or she may appeal safety violations to the Water Safety Board and non-safety violations to the Hofer Outing Club Executive Board. Open canoe rules. At least one person in the canoe must have passed the lake canoe test. If the water temperature is less than 60 degrees Fahrenheit, canoeing is only allowed under the direct supervision of an instructor or trip leader. No more than 3 adults may be in a canoe. 2 adults and 2 small children is okay. Kayak rules. All spray skirts must be tested for ease of removal, but the spray skirt on the boat, gather the middle of the skirt and lift gently. The skirt should come off the boat before the boat leaves the ground. All kayakers must have passed the kayak lake lesson and swim test or be under direct supervision of an instructor. Only persons who possess an R1 or an SK1 or higher rating may kayak outside the pier area, except on an official Hofer trip. All kayaking must be done in accordance with the Hofer Outing Club Lake Mendota rules chart. All kayaking practice which is likely to result in swimming must be done within the pier area, as defined in the Hofer Outing Club Lake Mendota rules chart. If the water temperature is less than 60 degrees Fahrenheit, kayaking is only allowed under the direct supervision of an instructor or trip leader. Helmets and face guards are mandatory when playing kayak water polo with paddles. Deck canoe rules. All spray skirts must be tested for ease of removal. At least one person in each 2-person canoe must have passed the advanced canoe test or be under the direct supervision of an instructor. Any person in a 1-person canoe must have had C1 instruction or be under the direct supervision of an instructor. If the water temperature is less than 60 degrees, canoeing is only allowed under the direct supervision of an instructor.
What should I do if I notice a piece of Hofer's outing equipment is broken?
Good question. In the boathouse, there are yellow tags with a Sharpie. Write down what is wrong with the piece of Hofer equipment with the date and attach it, and what's wrong with the boat and attach it to the broken equipment. Then contact the associated equipment share and notify them what is broken.
All right, I feel like I'm ready to take my first paddling lesson and head out on the water.